But I want to transition to another topic. So in the midst of this pandemic last year, we all know what happened to George Floyd, that he got murdered on camera. Everybody saw exactly what happened, and you obviously, and I want to give you a chance to, share about your summer as well with your activism. Something sparked inside of you, and there can be a lot of fear in wanting to step up and say something, even in the midst of seeing that, of like, it's not right what happened, but to actually go out and lead a march and to be so vocal about Black Lives Mattering, like what propelled you in that sense of like knowing like, hey, like this is what I want to do. This is where I stand. I want to help. I want to make a difference. How were you able just to and get support from the school? Because I know the school supported you as well in doing that. Tell me about that whole process.
Man, so I had already had a nonprofit organization, which I started my junior year of high school. It was just myself and my mom and my grandmother at that time. And we did some Hoops for the Homeless events.
What's the name of it so you can plug it so people can
it's Peace by You. So it's Peace by just the letter U, which basically means our job is to help everyone else find their peace and let it be created by them. And whatever they think brings them peace, our job is to capitalize on that and just spread their message, spread their story, spread our message, and spread our story. So by my freshman year, my freshman year summer, when all that stuff was going on, we did a full 360 flip and became an activist group kind of by accident. I was in Georgia and there was a protest out there. I was visiting my dad and we just happened to walk right into the middle of a protest. And I was always, invested in activism and philanthropy and, just being extremely candid as a player. I've always been someone who's spoken their mind, and if something bothers me, sometimes I shouldn't say certain stuff, but this is just a topic that there's no way I was going to be quiet about it. And I got a lot of backlash this summer. Scottie Lewis isn't focused. Scottie Lewis, are you still even a basketball player? There's just so much stuff, and not that I cared, but myself, my brother, my girlfriend, 3 of my best friends, we created just a super team. We all had different goals, and we all had different strengths that really made the team what it was this summer. So we had our first protest in Georgia. That following weekend, we had another protest in Asbury Park, which is predominantly a Black community that's being gentrified right now, or going through that process. And we had certain boundaries and stuff, streets we couldn't walk on, things like that during the protest. And certain people were shouting, like, why aren't we going down that street? But, the mayor of Asbury and the police department was extremely helpful throughout that process. Then when I got to campus, I was contacted by some local Gainesville residents, and they wanted me to hold another protest here. And it was a long summer. It was a long summer. It was filled with so many mixed emotions, and you really got to be right in the heart, in the middle of what everyone was feeling. I think the best part of the summer was seeing so many, this large, diverse group of people standing up for, one common thing. And that's really what kept us going this summer. So it was definitely, I don't know. I think the driving point was that when I look around and, I grew up with 4 brothers. I have 7 sisters. My dad, my mom, obviously, just my entire family. Like, that could have been me, and it could have been any of them. Yeah. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, like any of them. It could have been any of them at any moment in time. So I don't know. I guess I don't know.
It's crazy, man, that so many people criticize athletes or whatever for using their platform to speak on social issues or whatever it may be. And it's like, you don't need to be an expert to say like, I want equality for everybody. You can just be a human being. But I want to ask you this, like, what is your hope that, through what has been exposed in the unequal systems, the whatever it may be, police brutality, the education system, the healthcare system, just talking the conversations about race, that it's something that people really didn't talk about for a while. Like, what is your hope of how we will talk about, or how things will look in the future? Because I think at some point, the people that are very rigid, because I think your generation, my generation, is so much more open to seeing everyone as equal, seeing everyone. What's your character? I want to know your character before I even care about what you look like. What is your hope for how things are going to look for our nation and this world in the future?
Honestly, I'm hoping that we realize that our problem is not a political problem. I think obviously, I voted for Joe Biden. I wasn't the biggest Trump fan in any way, shape, or form, but not because of his policies or his political views or him being our president. I think it's the arrogance, the negativity, and the lack of love and respect that he stood for. Obviously there was a huge wave. Not that there wasn't negativity before he was the president, but he made those dark entities come to light. And he was a face for a country that had so much to hide, and many people gained so much by him being the president. Just freedom of hatred. This problem is that we're having. Like, Joe Biden's not going to stop people from being racist. Okay, he's not. He's like, no president can do that. No one who's a government official has the ability to do that. No politician has the ability to do that.
Policies and laws don't change anybody's heart.
Not in any way, shape, or form. If you put out a law that says it's illegal to be racist, it's illegal to have hate crimes, no matter how big or how small, people are still going to do them. People are still going to be racist. The problem with bigotry and inequality and racism, those are taught. Those are things that are taught. Those are things that are shown to children. So I think when he's like, I'm hoping that there's some sort of education reform. I'm hoping that there's some sort of neutral environment to where we can express the positives of having people from different backgrounds, ethnicities, different cultures come together and create something that's so great. I was never taught to like fear or hate or like any of that. I lived in New York. I lived in the Bronx, surrounded by pretty much Puerto Rican and Black people, Jamaicans. Like, that's what I was surrounded by. Then when I moved to Jersey, I was the only Black kid. Like, going to Rainey, I can name every Black kid that was in that school. Yeah. And we had pre-K to 12th grade. I could still name every Black kid in that school. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I could still also name every Indian, every Asian that was in that school. I think Randy set a strong foundation for me. I started going there in 8th grade. They set a really strong foundation for me and for everyone else as far as how diversity works and how diversity should work. And because of those foundations that were set, and how they really took time out to, I didn't have a week of oh, we're going to talk about slavery, we're going to talk about this, we're going to talk about that. We talked about everything. I had a class in high school that was African American history.
Wow. Had that in high school.
In high school. And that's not something that's common. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, we read African American literature. We read heroes that are not talked about commonly in African American history. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are things that like I experienced at a young age. Other schools don't even think about that. Let alone private schools. Majority of private schools are predominantly white, especially in the US. or predominantly Asian, especially in the US.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's a class for that and there's clubs for that, and they allow these clubs to express things. We had 3 cultural days in 1 year, to where you would walk on the track and get to experience different cultural foods, different cultural music, different cultural way of lives. Like, that's how you teach diversity. That's how you embed diversity and you respect differences within a school environment. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, there's got to be an intentionality of seeking diversity in your life. You know, if I'm only going to spend my entire life around people that only look and think like me, I believe I'm missing out on other cultures that God created. So I feel like I'm falling short. I'm falling short of experience so much and having my perspective open. I think, you know, to piggyback on you, man, I really think that a big problem of our nation and our country and social media has made it even worse. People want to fight so much to be right and to be heard versus let me just listen. Let me hear where you're coming from. Let me understand you. What have you experienced? And you can't feel that way. You can, just because you've experienced what you've experienced. You feel like you've gone through what you're going through. Let me try to understand you. And if we just had a heart of that in our country, in everything, man, in relationships, whatever it may be, this world would be a completely different place.
Completely, like, everything is so competitive, and it's always been that. It's always been that. You know, I understand that it's extremely hard for a country built on take and never give. It's hard for our society to transition into that. And like you said, which I think is great, like, if you're constantly surrounding yourself around people who have the same opinion as you and look exactly like you, what culture are you gaining? What knowledge are you gaining? What information is constantly new to you? In the way like social media works, if I say pancakes 8 times, I'm gonna get an IHOP commercial on my TikTok or on my Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So like, the more that you talk about things that you feel and that the people around you feel the same way, that's what you're gonna see.
Yeah.
You're gonna see things that validate your opinion. You're gonna see things that validate how you feel. You're gonna see things that validate your beliefs. And you're never gonna see things that may, you know, have you second guess, you know, maybe my opinion is not wrong, but maybe I can add other values and other morals to it, to where I have a broader spectrum. You know, like, why would that not be something that I'm interested in? And I think that people, and the problem is, I don't think people don't understand that. I think a lot of people don't understand that. But I think more than what I think, people understand that, but they refuse to go out of their comfort zone and express and learn something new. Place yourself in a different setting. Like, I wasn't only a basketball player in high school. Like, I was the vice president of the poetry club. I was a part of the thespian. Like, I was the thespian I was a part of the thespian society. There wasn't a play or a musical that I wasn't a part of. Wow. You know, being like, I had so many friends. And I
forgot you can sing.
You know, like, people don't place themselves in uncomfortable environments. And like, it works the same in life and in basketball. If you don't make yourself comfortable, there's no room for growth, because you're always in a comfort zone. You're always in a comfort zone. And that's what it is for race. Like, if I never experienced like another culture or you know, another kind of whatever, like, how can I ever learn to appreciate what I have?
Yeah.
Like, there's literally third world countries, you know? Like, if I didn't know there were third world countries, or I've never been to a third world country, I visited DR, and we were on a tour of DR, and just seeing the villages and how people live in other countries and other places, that made me more grateful to come back home and realize the essence of what I have. Even though it may not be a lot in the American society, but to other people, what I have is huge.
Yeah.